So in this video we'll study about fructose metabolism. So as we all know, sucrose is made up of glucose and fructose, right? So in our body during metabolism the sucrose breaks down to glucose and fructose, and this fructose gets metabolized in the liver, right? It circulates in the liver for further metabolism. And sucrose is converted into glucose, or sucrose breaks down to glucose and fructose in our body in the presence of enzyme in a small intestine by enzyme called as sucrase isomaltase. So coming to the metabolism of fructose, as we discussed, sucrose, it breaks down to glucose and fructose, right? And this fructose gets converted into fructose 1-phosphate, where ATP is converted into ADP in the presence of enzyme called as fructokinase. And then this fructose 1-phosphate gets converted into two byproducts. One is DHAP and number 2 is glyceraldehyde. The presence of enzyme aldolase B. So DHAP and glyceraldehyde in turn is converted into glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate, as we already discussed in glycolysis. So G3P is produced from DHAP and glyceraldehyde, and it takes part in glycolysis, right? And also there is another process going on where this fructose gets converted into fructose 6-phosphate in the presence of an enzyme called as hexokinase, and this fructose 6-phosphate takes part in glycolysis. However, this conversion of fructose into fructose 6-phosphate, the glycolysis is bit slow because we have the rate limiting enzyme called as the PFK1, as we discussed in glycolysis. So conversion of fructose 6-phosphate provides a delay than when conversion of DHAP and glyceraldehyde into glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate, where the glycolysis is a bit fast because we don't have rate limiting enzyme from glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate, right? So coming to the clinical significance, you have fructokinase deficiency. If the baby is born with fructose kinase deficiency, the baby presents with essential fructosuria. And the second clinical significance, where the baby born with deficiency of enzyme aldolase B presents with fructose intolerance, and both are autosomal recessive. Alright, so this is all about the fructose metabolism. However, there is another pathway which is called as polyol pathway. So what happens is the excess glucose in our body, right? So the excess glucose, and some cells, what happens is some cells metabolize glucose in order to form fructose, right? So what happens is the glucose the presence of an enzyme called as aldose reductase. It forms an product called sorbitol. So this sorbitol is in turn converted into fructose. So in the help of an enzyme called as sorbitol dehydrogenase, and here NADPH is converted into NADP plus, and here NAD plus is converted into NADH. This pathway is called as polyol pathway. So what happens is, as we discussed already, fructose can be produced from glucose via sorbitol, right? So the clinical significance is, with a patient with hyperglycemia, patient with more unwanted glucose, what happens is sorbitol gets accumulated in the body. So too much of sorbitol, it causes cataracts. So that is why the patients with hyperglycemia present with cataract. So sorbitol is actually an osmotic agent. So increase of glucose in our blood can cause increase in sorbitol. So that causes cataracts, right? So this is all about fructose metabolism and polyol pathway. I hope you guys are clear. I'll give you a heads up on the next video. Thank you for watching.